I wish to welcome everyone officially and declare the special budget meeting open at 9:02. Could I remind everybody that council meetings are open to the public and are also live streamed to provide access to all community members. Attendees in the gallery may be recorded, and this video and audio of the meeting will be available to the public on council's website. I wish to acknowledge the traditional custodians on this land on which we stand, the Gulnay people, and acknowledge my respect for their current and emerging leaders and those in the dreaming, and thank them for their contributions that they have made in building our community. Apologies. Are there any apologies? No apologies, thank you. The declaration of prescribed conflicts of interest or declarable conflicts of interest. I now invite those present to use this opportunity to make public any prescribed conflicts of interest or declarable conflicts of interest in respect of the items in the agenda. Do we have any conflicts to declare? No conflicts? Councillors should use this opportunity to disclose and or comment on other councillors or staff in accordance with the Act and regulations. We'll now go to 1.1 2025-2026 operational plan, and Mr. Gruffin will present.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. As per section 174(1) of the Local Government Regulation 2012, Council must prepare and adopt an annual operational plan for each financial year. Council's Integrated Corporate Plan 2025-2030 outlines Council's long-term vision, strategic priorities and objectives, and sets out the services, initiatives and key projects to be delivered over the next 5 years to meet the needs of our community. To support delivery of the corporate plan, Council adopted a future strategic planning framework, a robust and integrated approach designed to strengthen community engagement, transparency and accountability. The operational plan outlines how Council will put into action the priorities identified in the 25-2030 corporate plan over the year ahead. By bringing these initiatives together in a single document, Council can clearly communicate to both the community and staff the key areas of focus for the year. The Operational Plan 25-26 aligns with our annual budget. It outlines how we'll manage operational risks and tracks our progress towards the goals set out in our 5-year corporate plan. The activities and actions within this operational plan are directly aligned to the outcomes and objectives of Council's 25-2030 corporate plan. Healthy communities, livable places, sustainable environments, a thriving economy and good governance. At the end of each financial year, Council reviews its performance against the operational plan and reports on progress in achieving the outcomes of the corporate plan through the annual report. There is a recommendation there. The recommendation is that Council adopt the 2025-26 annual operational plan in accordance with section 174(1) of the Local Government Regulation 2012. If there are any questions from councillors about the operational plan or any of the initiatives or success measures within it, I'm happy to take those questions. Otherwise, there is a recommendation there.
Just more of a comment, sorry. Yeah. Councillor Jessup.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Gruffin. Through the chair, it's more of a comment, and I'd really like to thank the community for having their say. Without them, it helps the input to and their vision to plan for our future and helping the Cassowary coast become the most livable tropical community. So getting the balance right has been challenging, and managing risks and measuring performances. It's really indicative of our operational plan, and very happy to move to adopt the 25-26 budget operational plan.
So more of a comment to that, and I agree with your comments about the challenges that we have in meeting the expectations of our community and the surrounds, but we have made a commitment to make sure that we're listening to what's happening out there, and we will deliver our operational plan the best way that we know how with the information that we've got. And I myself have gone through it, and I've highlighted little areas that I think we should work on, and we will, we'll all have our little areas that each of us want to work on. So I hope it's a good journey into the into the future. Thank you. Has anybody else got any comments? Councillor Chewy?
Sorry. Through the chair, I'm happy to second as well. Thank you.
Thank you. So I've got a mover and a seconder. Any more comments or all take a vote?
Thank you, Chair, for your indulgence. Very happy to receive this plan. We've done a lot of work around the plan. I agree with Councillor Jessup. It's great to have the community involved, and we know there are community expectations. There's timelines around this work, which is very good for our operational staff as well as we're moving forward. Sometimes the timelines shift, but you know that is just a normal matter of business within, well, not just local government, but in the far north and in the wet tropics. We do have issues with our weather at times. So I think it's a great document. I look forward to working with that next year. There's some excellent connections to our corporate plan, and looking forward to this next 12 months and our operational works.
Great. We got a mover and a seconder, so all in favour? Thank you, carried. We'll move over to the Mayor's budget summary. So, good morning. My fellow councillors, staff, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to present the Cassowary Coast Regional Council's 2025-2026 budget. This year, Council has adopted a cautious and responsible approach to the budget. We've prioritised core services and essential responsibilities, focusing on delivery what matters most to our community. The budget reflects the realities of rising costs, economic pressures and growing demand for services, while staying true to our commitment to deliver for our community, despite the challenges. This $197 million financial plan balances service delivery, community resilience, practical investment and long-term sustainability. Before I go further, I want to thank my fellow councillors, our finance team and council staff for their contribution in shaping this budget. It reflects the goals of our corporate and operational plans and the priorities of the people we serve. This was a difficult budget to frame. Earlier this year, the Queensland Government's Valuer-General issued new land valuations, with land values in the Cassowary Coast increasing by an average of 37.33%. We understand this has raised concerns about potential increases in rates. In response, Council has taken action by reducing the rate in the dollar to help offset the impact of rising land values. This adjustment is part of our commitment to easing the cost of living pressures and ensuring ratepayers are not unfairly burdened by the valuation changes. For the first time, Council has introduced rates capping for residential ratepayers. This means that even if a property's land value has increased significantly above the average, the general rates charged will not rise by more than 15% compared to last year. These changes reflect the complexity of this year's valuations and highlight the importance of taking a fair and financially responsible approach to setting the rates. We are also deeply mindful of the cost of living pressures that continue to impact families, households, businesses all across the Cassowary Coast. That's why we've worked hard to deliver a measured and focused budget, one that protects essential services, invests where it matters, and avoids unnecessary financial strain on ratepayers. Council will see a modest 3.9% increase, or a $1.8 million in our overall general rates yield this year. We know this won't affect everyone equally. The impact of land revaluations will differ from property to property. Also, it will differ like households and businesses. Council costs have continued to rise, with some expenses increasing much faster than inflation, but we've kept the overall increase as low as possible. To provide additional support, Council will maintain the 5% on-time payment discount for all ratepayers and the $300 concession for pensioners in recognition of the financial pressures faced by some of our most vulnerable residents. Council will also record a $2.9 million operating deficit. This deficit is a non-cash and reflects a strategic decision to avoid raising rates unnecessarily. The increase is due to higher depreciation costs following the revaluation of our water and sewage assets. As depreciation is non-cash expense, we will not be rising rates to cover it. Thanks to our strong financial ratios, as set out in the Local Government Sustainability Framework, we are in a position to absorb this cost rather than pass it on to the ratepayers, reflecting our commitment to fairness and long-term financial sustainability. Our $116 million operational and $81 million capital program once again deliver projects and services to increase community resilience and support our growing community across the Cassowary coast. We are continuing to invest in our core council operations to deliver essential services to our residents, ensuring waste is collected, parks and gardens are maintained, libraries and recreation facilities remain open, and that clean and safe drinking water flows from the taps of homes right across the region. In this year's budget, $22 million will contribute to the ongoing disaster recovery funding arrangements flood recovery program, which is focused on community recovery following the devastating flooding event earlier this year. These works will continue to have a human and social focus, as well as restore essential public assets like roads, bridges, and repairing landslip damage. One of Council's key responsibilities is looking after our existing infrastructure, roads, facilities, and essential services spread across 4,500 square kilometres. Managing our $1.6 billion asset base is a big job, and it's something that the state government measures closely. I'm very proud to say that we can continue to exceed both of their key benchmarks for asset management, showing we're doing the job well and sustainably. In the coming year, the major areas of capital expenditure will include $22 million for water and wastewater, $36.1 million for roads, bridges, drainage and bikeways, $8.6 million to finish the Tropical Cyclone Jasper recovery works, $4.5 million for community services and facilities, and $5.1 million for the Tropical Cyclone Jasper betterment funding of unsealed roads. We will continue to advocate for our fair share of funding to achieve our community's priorities. The 25-26 budget includes $38 million in grant funding, which reduces the burden on ratepayers to fund critical infrastructure projects. Advocacy for upgrades on the Bruce Highway across the Cassowary coast will remain a focus, as well as advocacy to deliver sustainable dredging solutions for 1 Mile Creek at Cardwell. We also remain committed to supporting local business through delivering on Council's economic development strategy and through our procurement policy, both of which continue to guide our efforts by local where possible, backing local jobs and economic growth. This is a community-focused, solutions-driven budget. It keeps Council strong, responsive and accountable, and it backs the region we call home. With a realistic approach to planning and investment, we're setting the region up to grow and thrive to be the most livable tropical community. Thank you. The recommendation is that the Mayor's budget summary on the 2025-2026 budget be received by Council. Councillor Pervin. Councillor Pervin moved. You can speak to this. Councillor Jessup.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. And through the Chair, I'm excited about this budget. We have a substantial operational plan. We are committed to fighting the financial pressures in the Cassowary Coast. We are committed to advocating for our share of state and federal funding, and we remain committed to our community, so I'm happy to second this.
Thank you. Any further comments? Happy to receive? Yes, all happy to receive? Thank you. We move on to 3.1, Budget Resolutions, Annual Budget 2025-2026. The recommendation that pursuant to sections 169 and 170 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, Council adopts the budget tabled in the following for the 2025-2026 financial year. 1. Statements of the following for the 2025-2026, 2026-2027 and 2027-2028 financial years. A. Statement of financial position. B. Statement of cash flow. C. Statement of income and expenditure. D. Statement of changes in equity. 2. The long-term financial forecast. 3. The measures of financial sustainability as described in the Financial Management Sustainability Guideline. And 4. The total value of the change expressed as a percentage in the rates and utility charges levied for the financial year compared with the rates and utility charges levied in the budget for the previous financial year. We have Councillor Littlemore.
Thank you, Chair. I'm happy to move that resolution.
Thank you.
I'd like to also speak to it as well, if I could.
Sure.
This is one of the most complicated budgets and certainly one of the largest in terms of dollar value that I've ever had anything to do with, Mayor and councillors. And, you know, if anybody in the community thinks that this budget was easy to frame, I was asked a question at Cane Growers the other day, how many budget meetings have you had, Councillor Chris? And I said 7 budget meetings to get to where we are today. And I think that, you know, when I saw the look on the members' faces at the board meeting, they too probably didn't understand, like many of the public don't, just what it takes to get to a budget of this size and to be able to try and keep the rate rise at a level that's acceptable to the community. So I'm happy to so move, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Jessup. Second it?
I'll second.
Thank you. Further to that, yeah, that's right. And with the added valuations being another level of complication to what we already had to deal with. So I think we have come forward with a great proposition here. So we've had a mover and a seconder. So we'll take to the vote. Everyone's all in favour. Thank you. We move on to 3.2, Statement of Estimated Financial Position. The recommendation that pursuant to Section 205 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, Council notes the Statement of Estimated Financial Position is tabled in the financial statements. We have a mover. Councillor Jessup. Councillor Baines. Those in favour? Thank you. Carried. 3.3, Revenue Statement. Recommendation that Council adopt the Revenue Statement 2025-2026 as tabled and resolve that pursuant to Section 81 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, the categories into which rateable land is categorised and the description of each of those categories be set out in the Revenue Statement. 2. pursuant to Section 257 of the Local Government Act 2009 and in accordance with Section 81 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, Council delegates to the Chief Executive Officer the power to identify the rating category to which each parcel of rateable land belongs. 3. Pursuant to Section 94 of the Local Government Act and Sections 80 and 81 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, Council adopt a differential rating system and levy a differential general rate on all parcels of rateable land included in each category as set out in the revenue statement. 4. Pursuant to Section 77 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, Council will make and levy a minimum differential general rate on all parcels of rateable land included in each category as set out in the revenue statement. 5. Pursuant to Section 116 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, that the amount of the differential general rate to be levied on the categories of land set out below be limited to an amount no more than an amount equal to the amount of general rate levied on that land in the previous financial year, increased by the percentage identified below. However, for land to which this limitation applied, this limitation will cease to apply effective from the start of the billing period following: A. Transfer of ownership of the land. B. The change of the characteristics of the land which results in a change to the differential general rate category applicable to the land. C. Changes to principal place of residence status. Or D. Changes to the configuration of the land which results in an increase to the valuation. We have a mover and a seconder. Oh, there is two, sorry. Okay, pass the table. 6. Pursuant to Section 94 of the Local Government Act and Section 103 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, Council will make and levy the separate charges as set out in the revenue statement, which include the Transport Infrastructure Levy. 7. Pursuant to Section 94 of the Local Government Act and Section 94 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, Council will make and levy the special charges and, where applicable, adopt the overall plans and annual implementation plans set out in the revenue statement, which include the Billiana, Murray Upper, Kennedy, Meena Creek and Cowley Beach Rural Fire Brigade special charges. 8. Pursuant to Section 94 of the Local Government Act and Section 99 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, Council make and levy the utility charges for water, sewerage, trade waste, waste management and waste infrastructure as set out in the revenue statement. 9. Pursuant to Section 118 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, all rates and charges shall be due and payable within 30 days of the issuance of rates notices, as more particularly set out in the revenue statement. 10. Pursuant to Section 130 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, Council will allow a discount of 5% on general rates where payment of the full amount outstanding and overdue rates and interest is paid by the due date, as more particularly set out in the revenue statement. 11. Pursuant to Chapter 4, Part 10 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, Council grants the concessions set out in the revenue statement and the revenue and the rating concessions policy. Thank you. Whew. Have a breath. Have a sip of water. Councillor McLeod, you'll move. Thank you. Councillor Littlemore second. Those in favour? Carried. Thank you. 3.4, budget resolution, interest on overdue rates and charges. Recommendation that council adopt the interest rate on overdue rates and charges as tabled and resolve that pursuant to section 133 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, council will charge interest on overdue rates and charges at an interest rate of 12.12% per annum, compounded on daily rates from the date the rates and charges become overdue, as more particularly set out in the revenue statement. Moved by councillor Jessup, seconded by councillor Baines. Sure.
Probably an important point. My mic is on. Thank you, councillor. An important point to raise is that we don't come at this figure. This figure is actually a part of a state requirement. Is that a fair comment, Ms. Peters?
Yes, exactly that. So as of page 19 in the revenue statement, we take the Reserve Bank of Australia rate at the end of March 2025 and then add on 8%. And that's all outlined in the revenue statement.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further comments? Councillor Chewy?
Thank you, through the chair. And Ms. Peters, could you explain, if people are knowing potentially that they will have difficulty paying their rates, what are their best options to work through that? Thank you.
So we have general payment arrangements available to them. We will also soon be launching a new flexible payment solution for our ratepayers, which watch this space, that we come in August. And then if there is additional difficulties that neither of those resolve, there is a financial hardship policy which we'll be adopting as part of this budget. And that kind of clearly outlines all the necessary criteria to then be able to get financial hardship. So there's lots of support available. We just encourage ratepayers to come and speak to someone in customer service or the rates team.
So further to that, when is that new system coming online, and how do people make inquiries about how they might want to use that?
So it should be online, ready for the upcoming rates, which will be released in middle of August. And you'll see a lot of comms coming in the coming weeks of how to use it, how to sign up for it. And again, we will have support in our customer service areas, little iPads, etc., to try and help people get online and manage their rates more proactively.
And that is called payable, isn't it?
It is
so
called
when
payable,
they hear
yeah.
about payable, that's what that is meaning. Okay. We shall move on. Did we take a vote? No? So those in favour? Carried, thank you. 3.5, Capital Works Program. Recommendation that Council, 1, adopt the Capital Works Program for the 2025-2026 financial year, and 2, note that the 2026, 2027 and 2027-2028 Capital Works Program as tabled in the 2025-2026 budget document. Councillor Littlemore? Happy to move. Councillor Jessup? Happy to second. Sure. Councillor McLeod?
There we go. Thank you. Through the chair. Capital programs are massive for our region, and I just want to highlight a couple of those projects in there for my division, which have been on everybody's mind for the last 18 months. The Eastern Asphalt, Eddy Bay and Marillion drainage and flood mitigation projects are in this budget, so rest assured that the team is working, and especially after Jasper, that project is in the this capital budget. Also, the Innisfail CBD master plan, our quick win of lighting Innisfail, has finally made it into this financial year, and a lot of another project, a couple of projects that people don't really notice are our sewage and water line programs. They are very, very expensive, which does take up a lot of council budget, but they are very necessary for our residents to have clean water, to have their sewage taken away in a safe and clean manner, that it's not harming the environment, and that these projects will continue in this budget also. So I just want to commend the team for all the work that they've done for all of the projects that are listed in this capital works, and look forward to having some of these projects delivered.
Very good. Anybody else? Councillor Littlemore?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, this capital works budget also, there's a very heavy focus on drainage, and I know the residents of Cardwell, especially those that were impacted by the flooding this year, will be pleased that we're making a start on the Brasno Street culvert. There's $450,000 in the budget there, and so while that may not necessarily change the impact of what occurred earlier, it should make a difference to some of the smaller events, and I think they'll be particularly pleased that Council has taken the initiative this year and getting on with the job.
Thank you. Yes, and further to the lighting project, we should see some lighting in Banyan Park as well. So there's lots of exciting things coming, but a lot of the not so sexy stuff either, all the underground infrastructure that needs to be renewed. So that just has to be done. All right. So we've got a mover and a seconder. And we go to the vote. Thank you. Move on to 3.6, budget policies. Recommendation that Council adopt the following policies as included within the budget pack. 1. Rating concessions policy. 2. Investment policy. 3. Financial hardship policy. 4. Debt policy. 5. Debt recovery policy. 6. Revenue policy. And 7. Financial reserves policy. Councillor McLeod, you happy to move it? Councillor Pervin, seconded. Councillor Littlemore.
Thank you, Chair. You did mention in your budget summary that Council is listening to ratepayers, and those that are experiencing some hardship will be pleased to know that the hardship policy is being amended this year, so that people with more than one property who can demonstrate that they meet the other conditions that are relevant to the hardship policy may be able to get assistance. So that, you know, that in itself shows that we are listening to community concerns and taking action so that, you know, people can avoid hefty interest penalties if they are in genuine hardship. So I commend the actions of our fellow councillors and staff for bringing that forward.
Any other comments? I'd have to say that I agree, Councillor Littlemore, like we've jigged things as much as we can, and we've, you know, changed our policies to reflect the needs of the community the best that we can under the regulations. And I encourage anybody that is maybe unable to pay or struggling to pay to make contact with the team and sit down and have a chat, because there are options out there. So, yeah. Yeah, sure.
Thank you, Chair. Earlier in the year, we saw the outcome of when people are too embarrassed or feel that they're unable to approach staff to try and seek assistance for the hardship they may be suffering. The fortunate outcome of the, I think there were something like 20 properties on the for sale list at one stage. The great outcome was that everybody was able to manage to retain the properties, so we didn't have to evict anybody, and that's certainly a great outcome. So please, if people are experiencing some difficulty, the staff here, there are no judgments. If you find yourself in hard times, come and talk to the staff at the earliest that you can bring yourself into the office, make a confidential appointment, and please, try and avoid the situation where you see the sign go up and a notice come in the mail to say it's too late. Unless you can come up with 3 years' rates, you're in a lot of trouble. So I urge people to take advantage of the the facilities that we have. Payable certainly going to make some inroads into assisting people that can make payments, and that hardship policy is definitely there for people that find themselves temporarily bereft of funds. So,
Thank you. And not only on that, not only on just paying your rates, it's with anything really. If anybody has a query, just ring up and make an appointment and come and see somebody. There's always, we like to talk about solutions and we don't always have the right answers. So we're here to talk if you want to talk. Okay. We will go to the vote. We've got a mover and a seconder. So those in favour, thank you. Carried. We move on to budget resolution, Code of Competitive Conduct. Recommendation that Council, in accordance with Section 47(7) of the Local Government Act 2009, determine 1. That the Code of Competitive Conduct is applicable to water, wastewater and waste and resource recovery business units for the 2025-2026 financial year. And 2, not to apply the Code of Competitive Conduct to any other business activity for the 2025-2026 financial year. Councillor Jessup, you'll move that. Thank you. Councillor Baines. Second. Any comments to be made? No? We take that to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you. Carried. That brings us to the end of the meeting. So thank you for your patience in going through all of those resolutions. And once again, I'd like to thank all of the staff at Cassowary Coast Regional Council for their assistance through this difficult budget period. We spent many hours together talking and pulling our hair out. Probably got a few more grey hairs, I would think. But I'd like to thank you again for your persistence and expertise in all of your different areas, and also to my fellow councillors, thank you very much.